Hello everybody and welcome to Tuesday Tips with Kimberbell. I'm Jenny and I'm here with my good friend Jeanette, but of course you know Jeanette. If you don't, you should, because everyone should know Jeanette. Everyone needs a Jeanette.
Thanks, Jenny.
Head digitizer and does a tremendous job here at Kimberbell making super cute things. And today she is going to show us how to do some quilting, background quilting for the Twilight Boolevard bench pillow and how that all works. But kind of a fun fact before we get started, Jeanette we've been neighbors for like 17 or so years. So she's actually my neighbor. So she's like, I've known her longer than Kimberbell has actually known her. So that's really fun. And she's just incredible. So I'm excited to learn from you today, Jeanette. And what have you got to teach me?
So we are talking about Twilight Boolevard, specifically how to merge it with the quilting designs. So I wanted to kind of do an overall, we're actually going to show you, we have a couple machines set up. We're going to show you on this Janome and on the Baby Lock how you would put the designs together on the machine to be able to quilt them all at the same time. Quilt it and do the applique and everything.
Sounds awesome.
So I have one block with you here to show you two, but we're going to start actually in the instructions. So I have some instructions to show you. The first instructions I'm going to show you, this is actually page 2 of the quilting instructions. So all of them are the same and they show you this. So at the very top of the page, they tell you to locate the trimming instructions for the block that you're going to complete. So I happen to have instructions printed for the block we're completing. So we're going to do the creep along block.
Fun.
One with the tree. So when we look at those trimming instructions, we can just read those and they're just right here is where we're looking. So trimming instructions, we're going to square the block to 6.5 by 8.5 with the tree 1/4 inch above the inside of the ruler. Okay. So that's going to be 1/4 inch from the bottom. So that's really important to look at the trimming instructions before you start anything, because that's the final. This is what we're finishing like. So it says 6.5 by 8.5. So to start, we're going to look at this table, and we're looking at the column that says trim size, because that's what we're starting with, and we need to find 6.5 by 8.5. So you can see that's right there. So 6.5 by 8.5. It tells you what the embroidery field is going to be, the fabric, the batting, and over here it tells you the file name. So we need to find the file name that says 6 by 8.
Okay.
So that's how we find out all of that information. The second page of the instructions actually talks a little bit in a couple of these bullet points. It talks about merging it on your machine, and then it talks about the special trimming instructions, which we talked about. That's what we read, is where it talked about it needed to be 1/4 inch up from the bottom of the seam. So it's always a good idea to read clear to the end of the block you're making before you start your block,
right.
So you know what you're doing. So I brought just a couple print-offs that you could see of the block. So this is the quilting pattern that we're going to use today. This is Halloween 2.
So cute.
Super fun. So the inside line that you can see is the batting placement and tack down line, and the outside line is the fabric placement and tack down line. So when we want a design 1/4 inch above, we're actually just going to line it right up on that inside batting line.
Okay.
So here is what the tree print off looks like, or the tree embroidery file looks like this. And if you remember the instructions, they said to put the tree 1/4 inch from the bottom. So the tree is the only thing we have to look at. We don't need to look at all of the other lines. So when they come up, it's a little hard to see. We have so much light in here, so it's so light. But you can see it will come up, and it is way above. Here's the bottom of the tree. There's the batting line. So you actually have to take the tree design and you have to move the tree so that it lines up on the bottom of that batting line. So we're going to show you this, but on the machine.
Okay, awesome. Let's do it.
Okay, perfect. So you can come on around, and I have the machine. We have this block too. I'll show you. So here's like with the finish, what it would look like. And you can see that this is just 1/4 inch above. And if we turn it over, you can see that this is the batting. So that tree is right on that batting placement line, so that when we trim it, we sew it into the seam, the 1/4 inch seam, that tree is going to sit right on the ground in the seam. So that's what we're after.
Very cool. Do you want to see, should we show this?
Sure.
Okay, let's take a look at the pillow.
We do have, this is actually the sewing version of Twilight Boolevard. So you can see they all sit right on the bottom. That's because they're trimmed that 1/4 inch away. So if you're doing the background quilting, that's why you need to move the design so it sits right there on it.
Okay.
So that's what we're talking about.
Awesome.
Okay, so on the machine, so this is the Janome. So to go into like editing designs, you really want to go to this graph, the grid. So you want to push the grid, and then the folder icon right here is where we're going to find our designs. So I'm the folder, and I want a design for my USB stick. I'm just going to go up because I have it in a folder right here called GEF. So the first thing I want is the quilting pattern. So here's the quilting pattern. Oh, exceeds hoop size. I forget. The Janome wants you to tell it what hoop size you want it first. Okay, so we get to go over it again. Awesome. So I'm pushing that design. Again, I'm just finding it on my USB. So on page 2. So here's my quilting, and I put it right in the center of my hoop. And so now I have to add the tree on top of it. So I just go get another design, just go back to my USB stick, and I find the tree, and it loads it right on top. But this is what I was showing you with the papers. The tree is up too high. I have to move the tree. So I'm not paying attention to the rest of the lines around the tree. I'm paying attention only to the tree trunk. So if I just push this down arrow, I'm lining that tree trunk with the inner line. And so it's really tiny, but you can see it's lined up. That inner stitch line is right up with the tree trunk. So then you'd be able to say, okay, and it combines the two together. So our quilting design is 5 steps, and the tree is 5 steps. So right here it tells me I have 10 colors on the hoop, 10 colors. So it's like they're combined together. You will want to skip on the tree block. We have a placement line for your fabric, and then it tacks down the fabric, but we already have fabric.
Right.
It does that on the quilting design. So you want to skip those.
Okay.
So then we're going to show Jenny how to do it.
Good. Front row seat here.
Yes. On the Baby Lock Spirit.
Okay.
So instead, normally you would go in embroidery,
right,
but this time go under embroidery edits.
Okay. Wishing I'd done my nails.
Yes.
Sorry, everybody.
So then you go to the USB, and we want the quilting design. So it's a PS file. Mm-hmm. So the quilting design first.
Okay.
And we're adding that. And now hit set, because we're like, yep, we really want that one.
I really want that one.
And now add is here. Add is only when you go into embroidery edit. If you go into regular embroidery, you don't get add. Okay. So go ahead and say, I want it from my USB and the PES folder. Okay. And then find your tree.
Oh, my tree.
Tree.
Oops. Okay.
And then you say, okay, set, I want the tree.
Okay, I do want that tree.
And then you just want to move the tree down. So you want to just push the down arrow. You can even push and hold it. And it goes faster.
It does. Did I go too far?
Go just a little bit further. Remember, we're looking at the bottom. It's a little harder because of those lines around the tree. Mm-hmm. But you can go a little further and make sure, and then make it go up. So a little bit further down.
Okay. Just say whoa when it's time to whoa.
Like one more.
Okay.
Like right there.
Go
Perfect.
a little too
No,
far.
that's okay.
Okay.
And then you just say embroidery.
And then I'm ready to go.
And then you're ready to go.
Man, that wasn't hard at all.
No. So then you just hoop your stabilizer.
And then just
start stitching. Yeah.
That is so cool. You know, I love these background quilting patterns.
They are a lot
I mean,
of
I
fun.
love them without them too, but they just elevate the whole thing.
It does.
Don't they?
It really does. And you pay so much for your machine, you want it to be able to do so many different things too.
For sure. Well, great job. That's fantastic. I hope that was helpful. Does anybody have any questions about this that Jeanette can answer? Did you notice that Jeanette can answer? I can answer other questions, but maybe not about this quite yet.
Awesome.
Okay.
No
Do you have any questions? No questions?
Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we hope to see you next week. And until then, have a beautiful day.